The delusion I believed when I filed for divorce wasn't something I made up to make myself feel better. It was something that almost every woman believes the moment that she decides to leave. It's the belief that once you're free, your life will finally feel right. I believed it too, and for years I didn't understand why the relief didn't last. If you're a man who got left and you've spent your time wondering if you were the reason why she seemed so much happier once you were gone, stay with me because I lived both sides of this. And I'm about to tell you the part almost no one who's actually been in her position will ever say out loud. Here's a belief in its simplest form. Once I'm free from him, my life will finally feel right. It's not complicated. It's not something a therapist has to talk a woman into. It just shows up on its own, usually after years of something wearing you down. I thought I finally got to be me, do things on my own terms, stop answering to anyone. And for years, I defended myself against things that were controlling and manipulative. And that defending just fed the fire every time. Even walking away mid-argument didn't work. I tried to end the fight by leaving the room, and he followed me just to keep it going. Leaving the marriage meant I finally had a choice, so I made it. Calls and texts were unanswered unless it was about our daughter or the divorce. And if you're on the other side of this, hearing that isn't meant to make you feel like a villain. It's meant to help you understand what she was actually reaching for. Freedom from a pattern, not necessarily freedom from you as a person. That distinction matters, and we'll come back to that later. And for a while, the relief actually feels true. People told me that I smile more, that I had a calm about me that they haven't seen in years. I wasn't walking on eggshells anymore, wondering what I've done wrong this time. I spent more time with friends. I didn't have to answer to anyone. And I got comfortable making decisions or not making them on my own, and realizing that the sky, it wasn't going to fall either way. But the relief looked good until the nights rolled around. Even though we weren't a couple anymore, there was still some strange comfort in knowing that he used to be there. People around me will reinforce it. Friends, family, even a therapist. Everyone tells you, you did the right thing. You seem so much lighter now. And to the man watching this video who got left, I need you to hear something because I lived both sides of it. The relief you saw in her, it was real. She wasn't faking it. But it wasn't proof that you were the problem. It was proof of how well she convinced herself that removing you would fix what's actually hurting. Because distance from a trigger isn't the same as healing a pattern. For me, the relief lasted about a year. Then life kept happening. I got laid off from my job and fear came seeping in. Could I actually make it on my own financially? I had security in that marriage, and now I was terrified I'd always struggle. Then I started dating, and it wasn't easier just because I was free. People say that grass isn't always greener on the other side. But for me, I thought it could be worse than what I had left. It wasn't worse, but rejection was hard in a whole new way. I never had a boyfriend in high school and barely dated before I got married. And every time a first date didn't turn into a second or didn't happen at all, that old voice came back. Ruth, you're not pretty enough. You're not skinny or funny enough. It's me. And here's the irony I didn't expect. I was the one who filed for the divorce. I was supposed to be the one who was scrambling to find someone next. But it was my ex who found someone else first. And watching that from the outside taught me something. My ex finding someone else right after the divorce didn't prove anything about whether I would or would not find my person. It just felt like it did. What it actually proved is something different. Finding someone new isn't the same as becoming someone new. Whatever behavior I used to have to navigate, the tone, the calls, or the silence, didn't stay behind with me. If it wasn't dealt with, it just went with him into the next relationship. The relationship did not create that pain. It revealed it. Old wounds, old patterns, the financial fear, the belief that I wasn't enough, none of that had anything to do with him. It was already there waiting to be triggered by whatever came next. Here's something that took me a long time to actually understand, even while I was living in it. Getting triggered isn't a personal failure. It's your nervous system's alarm system, pointing you to an old wound or an unmet need that needs attention. For years, I thought my ex was the trigger. His name, his face, the sound of his call coming in. But it wasn't him. It was the behavior, a certain tone, the calls that wouldn't stop, the sudden silence that meant something was coming. If a stranger had done the exact same thing, I would have felt that same flash of irritation, that same spike of anxiety. But because it was someone I loved, someone I couldn't just avoid, my brain shortcut the math. It linked the stress directly to him instead of to what he was actually doing. Years of history piled on top of that until I wasn't reacting to the moment in front of me anymore. I was reacting to the whole relationship. Separating the two changed everything. You can't force someone to become a different person, but you can name that specific behavior that crossed the line. And that's where the real work starts for you and for me both. If separating the behavior from the person is a new idea for you, that's one of the tools I walk through in my free guide, Letting Go of Judgment. I will bring it up again before we wrap up. That's the part almost no one who's been through this from her side will tell you, so I will. If you've spent months or years turning over, was I really the problem? Running your happiness through your head like evidence against yourself? Stop carrying a verdict that was never fully yours to hold. Her relief was hers. It doesn't get to decide who you are. The work in front of you was never about winning her back or proving her wrong. It's the same work that I had to do on my side of it, figuring out what was actually mine to heal. So I wasn't just carrying the same patterns into whatever came next. As I mentioned, that reframe is exactly what my free guide, Letting Go of Judgment, walks you through. And the link is in the description below. If this video helped, please subscribe. I'll keep sharing what I've learned from both sides of this.